Hey, it's a busy holiday week, and during this week, we are bringing you a look back at some of the most compelling stories and conversations we've covered for you in 2024. It's 24 in review.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski, featuring special guest and forensic scientist Dan Krane.
Let me ask you about the misconduct here, and like what you were saying earlier of, okay, you know, there's this little thing over here. They're going to see it on the graph, and we know it's not a big deal. It at the end of the day, my results are solid. At least that's what they're thinking. Are they though? I mean, does this ultimately change the results of the work? Could this get someone wrongfully convicted? Could this let someone free who shouldn't be free? I mean, what are the true results of what could happen by this sort of misconduct?
Based on my experience, I would say it is very much less likely that somebody would be free that shouldn't be free.
Okay.
And somebody would be wrongfully convicted that shouldn't have been convicted. That doesn't seem to be the way that these sorts of misconducts play out. They don't work in favor of defendants as a rule.
Sure.
There may be some sort of ironic circumstance where it actually did work to a defendant's advantage during the original trial, but that's pretty unlikely. That probably wasn't what Missy Woods had in mind when she was what she was doing. So yeah, I don't think that you might not know, Tony. I actually have encountered Missy Woods in court.
Oh, really?
I've testified a number of times in Colorado, and some, I don't know, at least for the issues that I worry about, some important cases where precedents were being set, and she was often in court, and occasionally I think even testified as an opposing witness to me. So, what's going to happen with these 652 cases is there is now a very good chance that, well, at the very least, the evidence in those cases is going to be reevaluated very carefully. And it may well be that courts find that the DNA test results should no longer be considered to be reliable. And then an assessment needs to be made as to whether or not a jury would still have likely convicted, even if they hadn't seen the DNA evidence. And in those circumstances, also there will be talk about doing retesting. That might not always be a possibility. And there may well be some need for quite a few retrials.
That's mind-blowing for that many cases. And the 652 is all we know about right now. Obviously, they're still going from 90 to 08 to 94.
And there are people who have probably already completed their prison sentences, whose cases, and maybe people who are no longer with us, maybe people who are deceased, who completed their prison sentence. So I don't even know how you make things up.
And this would be, I mean, this is Colorado. So would she have been handling cases from all over the state that were sent to her with DNA, or a specific geographic area that has to be reevaluated on those cases? Or is this kind of like the whole state?
Well, the Colorado laboratory, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, does deal with casework across the whole state. They do have more or less branch offices and set up in some different counties. But, by the end of her career, she was the DNA technical lead. She was like the person who supervised all of the testing going on there. And there has been now, at least in the wake of the investigation into Missy Woods, there is now at least one other analyst who has been suspended, actually, for which I think criminal charges are now pending for issues in casework that she had been doing for the past 10 years. So it's
it's welcome news for those incarcerated in Colorado, and DNA had something to do with their incarceration. I'm sure they're all trying to look back. was this person involved? Was this lab involved? Was Missy involved? Was the other individual, Shiera? Is that how you say her name?
I think so.
Shiera, yeah.
This is as good as mine.
Winish, the other analyst.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on True Crime
Until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.